In this tutorial here, we're going to be looking at rendering and assembly in Inventor. So first of all, we need to make sure we've got AutoCAD, Autodesk Inventor opened up, and we want to open up our assembly. So I've already got my assembly opened up. Remember, you always go up to File, Open, and find your assembly under the Open menu item there. So I've got my assembly in front of us here. I've already applied my colors to it previously when I've created my parts, and so now I'm ready to start preparing it for rendering. So I want to go into View, and under Visual Style here, we want to click Realistic. So we make the materials selected to be as realistic as possible. Next up, we want to turn on Shadows. We'll click All Shadows there, and you see the shadows will start to appear on the different parts there. Then we'll go click Reflections, and if you want, you can turn on Reflections, and you'll see a reflection will appear when we render it below it, so as if it's sitting on a slightly glossy surface. Next, we want to change orthographic, and we're going to change that so it's perspective. So it makes it look a little bit more lifelike, as we see stuff with perspective when we're looking at it in real life. And we want to turn on ray tracing. So enabling ray tracing here, and we see our reflections starting to appear. So ray tracing may depend if the computer is capable of running it. The computer is trying to calculate how the lights of the rays of light, would hit the model and interact with different parts of the model. So you can see when we turned that on, we then got the shadow of the little snubs on top of that there, are shining onto the different, or casting onto the different parts there. You can see the computer is struggling a little bit to run that there. And we can also, in this environment here, we can go into Sharp Highlights, and we can change the environment and the lighting environment around our model there. So you can change it to cool lights, and you'll see it gets a bit darker there, and the shadows change. And if we click on that there, so the ray tracing is taking place here, so it does get a little bit slow, the computer. I'll move that back to Sharp Highlights, but there's lots of other ones you can play with. Play around with, and that's part of fun of rendering, is experimenting a little bit. Once you've got it set up kind of the way you want it to be, you've played around with the lights a little bit, we can then go into environments at the top here, and what we'll do is we'll just wait for the ray tracing just to finish here. And I've just got it set on low. That's what I'd recommend. You can set it on high, which you're really happy with the way you want it. That will then slow the computer down quite a lot, and it'll take a little bit longer to process that there. So it's taking just around half a minute to process it on this computer. So once we click environments at the top there, we want to go to Inventor Studio. So Inventor Studio can be used to create animations, but we're just going to use it to create ourselves a nice image of our Lego assembly. You can add things like local lights if you want to add additional lights, and play around with the camera. We're just going to keep it simple today, and we're just going to render with the setup we have. You can adjust the way your model looks. You can use the little top cube there. I was quite happy with that view I originally had there. Nice. So I'm ready to click Render Image there. So Render Image gives us a choice of the resolution. We'll go just for 1800 by 1200 there, and we're not too worried about that. That there you can use if you're producing a graphic for a magazine, or you want to produce it to match the resolution of your desktop screen at home, for example. You could enter what resolution you would like there. Camera, we're just going to go for the current view because that's the only camera we have set up. And lighting style, again, you can change it. They're the same lighting styles we had the option of earlier. So I'm just going to leave that as it is, and I'd recommend playing around with it in the other menu under View rather than here. We have Output, we'll just leave that blank at the moment, and then we've got Render there. So we can render by iteration, so it's going to try 32 times the rendering, or until satisfactory. So I'm going to click that there today, but rendering by iteration works well, and about 32 iterations can give you a very good result. So I'm going to click that, and you'll see why in a second. So I click Render. This is now starting to render. So what I would suggest is you try to run as much on the computer while you're doing this to give it the best chance possible to kind of use all the computing horsepower to render your model. Let's give this a second. See down the bottom left here, number of iterations complete. So it's done 4 iterations of the model. You can see we've got lots of little black dots. So these, as the model renders, will actually appear, and it will get this through it. Also got the reflection down here is kind of getting, and we're getting the shadows in the partner appearing there as well. So a lot more lifelike. That's what a rendered image is. It's a lot more lifelike than the image we had, which is quite sterile in a way. So if you're doing 2 iterations, you'll see a progress bar above. We'll just keep through until the end, at which point you'll be able to click the little save icon up here. Because I'm doing it until satisfactory, I have to decide at which point I would like to stop this. So I'm just going to stop that just now. I can hit the red button there, and I can hit save them. And when I save as a PNG file, and I've got 6 bricks, I'm just got my 6 brick assembly. But if you've got a model, maybe you model a cat or a dog or something using the Lego bricks, you can name it whatever you want, and that will save. Just make sure you're saving it in the right location. So I'm saying that my CAD folder there. So click save there. And if I wanted, I could resume. I could continue rendering there if you had more time. But that's all we'll do for just now.